Okay, so welcome back, guys. So where we are is this is what we're looking like right now. We basically put some kind of texture on everything, and now we just gotta go in and continue to refine some of this stuff. So what I want to do is start putting in some of those decals, some of the text and stuff like on this site right here. So just from doing some research on Google, I found that there's on this particular type of site, there's this text right here that goes on the site. If we look at this is what it looks like right here. So pretty straightforward. Just, I estimated the font, try to get something similar. It's not exactly the same, but it'll do. It just depends on how accurate you want to be. So in my case, this is good enough. So what I'm going to do here is that file that I just opened, I'm going to drag into here, you see, and what it does is it brings it in, and then you got to define what kind of file it is. I'm going to use it as an alpha. This I just made in, where'd it go? This I just made in Photoshop real quick. Made sure my image was square. Made sure the background was black, and then the text was white. So basically this is nice because what it does, instead of having it be, white text on that tan color, I can use this as an alpha, meaning that whatever, I can have this be whatever color I want, and I can switch it anytime. And where it's black, it's going to be transparent, and where it's white, it's not. So I can define the color of the fill layer and then use this to mask out where I want stuff to be. So wherever it's black, there'll be no color, and wherever it's white, there will be color. So very useful that way. So I'm going to define that as an alpha, and then I'm just going to import it into, let's just say the rifle project. So import, and you'll see that it'll put it right there. So to get it on there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control Alt and right click. It's going to put us in this texture set, as you can see. And now what I'm going to do is make a new fill layer, which is going to be, the text is white, but obviously you don't want it to be perfect white. So this slight off white that we have here is probably going to work. So, and if not, I can always come back and change it. I don't think I'm going to need any height. And I don't think I'm going to need any metal. I might come, and you know what, let me leave the height on. I'm definitely not going to need any metal. Okay, so let's then, now if I remember how to do this, actually I don't know if I can. Yeah, it's not going to work. I was going to use it as a decal, but I guess it doesn't work with the alphas. Anyway, so that one I can do is add a black mask. Okay, and if I hit F6, it puts me in orthographic mode. As you can see, that's just weird, but it being in orthographic mode makes it so that we can try. Now the problem is this, if I hit F5, I can come out of that mode. The problem is the surface. Let's just shrink our brush down so it's not so distracting. The surface is at an angle, right? So what we got to do is try to line up this angle. And if you want to remove all the perspective distortion, you just hit F6 and go into orthographic mode. Okay, and then we're just going to do this. The other option, of course, is to hit F1 and then go find that in the, so if I draw right here, you can see it's right there. So this will probably work better rather than trying to line that up. Okay, so we have our fill layer. And what I'm going to do is click on that, and that's going to be, so you just click on the alpha and it's going to come into the alpha of that fill layer. And if you click, it'll stamp it on there. So we have to decide just how big we want this, and we can click. And I'm going to hit F5 back here to get out of orthographic mode. Okay, so now we have our text on the site right there. And then on the layer itself, so I was in the mask layer, now I'm back in the layer. Okay, so click in the layer. And if we want this to be, you know, more or less shiny, we can drop the, see if we drop the roughness all the way down, you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see there's more shine to that text. So that's entirely up to you how you want to do that. Maybe that. And then if you, I don't know, if you want to do a little bit of height, 0.01 or something, I don't know if it's worth it, honestly. You can see that it pops a little bit. I don't know if it's worth it, but okay, we'll leave it as is. Now, I just want to compare it to the, just in the up and down spacing here, top and bottom. So it's more or less equal spacing. Looks like the top might be a little more space. I think I have way too much up top here. So what I can do is just clear the mask and then try again. Now let's look at side to side. Yeah, okay. So this is probably fine. Just gonna raise it up just a hair and click right there. And there we go. Now we need to do the same on the rear one. They say the exact same thing. And I think this is, yep, this should be the rear one here. So something like that. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Now if you want to, you know, damage it or whatever you want to do. So if I go back to my front one, you want to scrape off some of that paint, you can do that. If you come under the fill layer, in fact, let's go in here and just name this, I don't know, site text. Okay, so if we come to the mask and then add a paint layer, we can then grab a brush, go into brushes, and go to whatever. Again, I like dirt. Let's control and drag so that that's nice and small. And let's see what, yeah, that's going to add. So I hit X and we can just start to just slightly tap in places just to knock it back a little bit. And we could do the same on this guy here. And it's nice because you can go back and forth painting the UVs and painting the 3D view. Okay, so sort of kick back some of that paint on there. And then, of course, if you want to add to the actual, you know, see metal come through too, then you can go back in this paint layer way down here and start to bring in some metal. Let me to make this even smaller. So wherever, you know, if it got scratched up somehow, something like that. I don't want to overdo it, but you can just start to scratch away some of this paint to reveal some metal. Okay, that's looking a little tiling like. All right, I don't know. You can decide how you want to do that. And you can at any time hit X and start to put some stuff back. Yeah, whatever you want to do. All right, so you know, do it up the way that you want. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. All right, so that is good for now. Now let's look at the lower receiver. I'm gonna shift right click and drag to bring my light around. Where is it? There we go. Just gonna hit F2 for right now so we can see this. So the way this usually goes is there is a company logo over here. And then underneath that is, there's different things. Sometimes it's the name of the type of rifle it is, the caliber, and then also serial number. So what I have done is I just went in Photoshop and created this alpha map right here. These upper ones here are for the red dot sight that's on top of the gun, along with these numbers down the side, and you'll see me use these as we go. And then safe, semi, and auto is for the safety selector. So when it's in safe, and then when you're in semi-automatic, and then when you're in automatic mode. Cal 556/223. Those are the calibers typically for this type of rifle. And serial number is right there. It's just random numbers I threw out. And then I just made up some fake manufacturer name here. I hope Grizzly Arms Defense isn't a real thing, and I don't care enough to check. And I just based it out of Willow, Alaska for some reason. I think I was watching a YouTube video. People are in Willow, so screw it. Willow it is. Okay, so we're going to use all these. Let's go ahead and start with the caliber and stuff. So I'm just going to load this in as an alpha, just this whole thing. So you don't have to have just one thing like I did on the previous one. You can have multiple things, and we're going to use these as stencils. I think I want to try the stencil route. So that's what we're going to put here. And again, if I hit F6, I can go into orthographic mode here. And if you see how weird that looks because there's no perspective. And then if I'm rotating and hold shift, it's going to snap. So now I know I'm flat onto this thing perfectly. Okay, I need to drag that map into my alphas. Well, I need to drag it in here and then tell it to use it as an alpha and import it into this project and import. So there it is right there. So now what I need to do, I'm going to go right up here to the top. So these are on the actual same, wait, okay, I forgot to select the correct texture set. So Control Alt right click. And now we are in 1014, which is, wait, here we go, which is, yeah, that's the correct one. Now we're going to be working on here. So again, what I need is let's see, do I need a fill layer for this? Actually, no, we're going to use a standard layer. Not the fill layer, but just the regular layer. And that's going to make it right there. I think this will work. And then instead of putting this in the alpha, we're going to put it down here in the stencil. So drag it into the stencil. And you see that it pops up right here. So whatever I do, if I paint, it's going to, and if I turn this off, you see it's now painted that on. So let's do that again. Put it as a stencil. Now, the logo that's going to go up there, I honestly didn't want to sit there and make up a logo. So I'm just going to see what other alphas are in here and just use one of those. Call it good. Now I doubt there'll be anything grizzly bear related, and that's fine. It's really not that important for this, but if you really want us to really sell it, then you could go that extra mile. For me, I hope, you know what, it might be saving, maybe? Yeah, I think it's doing an autosave. So okay. Hoped that it wasn't going to crash. Okay, so, I don't know. We can just pick any kind of shape here. The atom is kind of cool looking. That cross is kind of cool. This pattern, sort of Celtic design here is kind of cool. I want to keep it simple. This hexagon is interesting. let's try that. So I'm gonna turn off the stencil for right now, and then in this layer that we have, what I want to do is come down to here. What we need, we don't need color, because this stuff is sort of cut into the surface, so it's inset into the surface. So we don't need any color. We do need height. We don't need any roughness, because the roughness is going to be the same for the metal, so it doesn't change where the imprints are. And then we don't need any metallic. Really, all we need is our height and normal. Okay, so what did I say? This one, I'm going to click on that, and that should get put right here in the alpha. And let's make him just control, right click, drag. So if we have to set, so you notice I clicked and nothing happened. That's because our height is at 0, so it doesn't do anything because it's at the same level. So we need to go negative, right? So negative, let's try 0.1. So we need to have a height that is negative from 0, because then it's going to sink it into the surface. So if we click again, you can see what it's doing. It's just sort of imprinted that in there. And you can decide how deep you want. The bigger this number is in the negative direction, the deeper it'll be. The bigger it is in the positive direction, the more it'll jut out of the surface. Of course, remember that this is not really there. This is it's fake. Obviously the surface is flat, but we just want it to look like it has an imprint in it. So because of that, you don't want to go too far with it. Okay, so let's go negative 0.25, say, and I'm just going to click and see how I like that. I can hit F5 to get out of orthographic. I mean, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, maybe. And then if you wanted to go the other way, we can go this way now. It looks like that's coming out. So, it's entirely up to you how you want to do that. Did I just undo? No. Okay. But I think I like it better in the negative. So negative 0.25 or whatever. Maybe. I really like these guys here, but I don't think I'm going to use those. I don't know. This split triangle thing is kind of interesting. Yeah, I kind of like that. Just do another once over here. No, I kind of like that. Let's go with this. So I'm going to decide how big I want this. Maybe that big. Click once. Maybe that's too big. Let's go. Oh, did I go back into orthographic? And let's rotate and snap. And click. You want to make sure you're not at any angle, because then, you might get distortion. So I'm going to click there. And I kind of like that. Okay, let's call that good. And then we can go into, now I've lost my stencil. So let's see. What did I call that file? Gun decals. Okay. So in the G's. There it is. Okay. So I don't want this as an alpha, so I'm actually going to delete that from the alpha. I want it as a stencil. So I'm going to drag it into the stencils. Excuse me. And now there's two ways you can deal with these stencils. If you just Alt and drag, you'll move your viewport around as normal. But if you hold down S and do the same thing, you'll move your stencil. So it's the exact same Maya controls. S and left mouse will rotate. And if you hold Shift, it'll snap. S and middle mouse will pan it. S and the right click will increase or decrease the size. So it's up to you how you want to set this up. But it works pretty much the same way. So what we need is the cal and the serial number, these two lines right here. So we need to position those so we can just bring the gun closer or just scale down this. You'll notice that when you're in stencil mode, it kind of darkens everything. I'm not sure if there's a way to change how dark that goes, but I kind of do a little bit of both here. I'll move the stencil and I'll move the viewport as well. So something like that. We want that to be right there under that logo. Maybe a little there, something like that. So I'm going to shrink my brush down. There's no alpha, so you'll notice that my brush is actually just a square, which is fine. And you can see that I can drag that over like that. And if I turn off my stencil here, I'm going to hit F5. You'll see what we have here. Okay, it looks like sunken in text. Now, the text itself looks like it's too deep, and it's kind of giving you bad quality here. So we need to then separate the text from the logo, because I think the logo is fine at that depth, but I think the text is too deep and it's just not looking very good. So what I can do is just undo putting that text on there, and we'll just call this one logo, and then we're going to make a new one. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Hold on. Well, yeah, let's name this logo. Because this, I forgot we're not using a fill layer, I believe. And let me just check to make sure that I can. So if I reduce this and then go to my stencil and bring this back, hit F6 to go into orthographic. And now that I'm at a different, so you can change your height values. You can do one thing at a certain height value, change the height value, and then paint something else, and they can have different height values. So that's a nice thing about these regular layers. So then let's go back here, and we're putting this right about here. And you can see now it's not quite as deep. And maybe I actually want this. So I was at negative 0.25 before, so let's try negative 0.15 for the text. And we'll just go there. That might be much, so let's go negative 0.1. There we go. Okay, so turn that off. And there we go. So we got a serial number, we got a caliber designation. That's looking pretty good. So if we, where was that? I've been doing a bunch of searching here. So let's go back to the lower receivers. And you can see there's different things. The name of the company, sometimes it's just text. And then, could be anything, model number, and then the serial number. So whatever it is. And then there's usually some kind of text over here. Then there is a safe, semi, and if it's a fully automatic, then it'll have auto right here. So let's go ahead and put those in. So let's go back to here. I'm going to hit F6 again. Just make sure I'm in orthographic, and then rotate and snap it flat. So let's bring back our stencil. And I'm going to leave the height at the same value as I did for that, because this is text again. So let's use our Grizzly Arms defense. Let's just shove it right in here. And I went too far. So let's go backward. Okay. And now we need our safe. Now, problem is I have this safety selector in the way here, so Control Alt and click. Oops, let's get out. Let's get rid of our stencil here. Oh, is this on the same? No, it's not. Well, let's just turn off all these other layers until we get, there we go. So now I can actually plug this in here. So put this back in our stencil. Not sure if there's a way to just turn off your stencil and then turn it back on, but anyway. So what we want is safe. So safe is over here. So let's, oops, wrong one. And then what we got to be careful of is that the size of the text stays the same. So if I put safe on there and then I did it again. and then I mess around and zoom in and out on it and change the size, then I'm going to mess it up. So I want to make sure I keep it the same size. Okay, so something like this, and shrink my brush a little bit. Save. Okay, and then so right now I'm going to move just well, I guess I could move the stencil too just by moving it, making sure that I don't zoom in, but I think it's easier if I just do it this way. And this is semi, and then auto. Now what I'm trying to do is make sure that these kind of line up across this way. And all I have to do here is just line this up here, and this should be good. Okay, so I mean it's really that easy. Okay, let's get rid of this. So this is, we'll just call this lower, I don't know, what do you call this stuff? Markings. Lower markings, there we go. Okay, hit F5 to get out of orthographic. And this is what we have. And let's bring back everything. And you can see how that's starting to look pretty good. Okay, now these usually have save semi and auto on both sides, so let's go ahead and again let's turn these off until we find the one that we want, which is that one, and shift right click and drag until we bring the light around this side. F6 for orthographic, Alt rotate and hold down Shift to snap. And then now again you'd want those to be the same size, but you're not going to be able to tell if they're not, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. So safe is on this side. And semi is up here. Oh boy. Oh, I see I messed up there. Let's turn this off. I zoomed out and didn't without meaning to. So let's safe. Semi and auto. No, that's not right. Okay, those seem a little big to me, so I'm going to start again here. Let's increase the size. There we go. Something like that. Oh, wrong one. Save. Semi. And auto. Do those still look pretty big? Let me see here. Yeah, those look big. Those look really big. All right. Let's just shrink them down this way. There we go. I think I like that better. Wrong one again. Safe. Semi. And auto. Okay. So hit F5 to go back into standard mode here, and let's turn everything back on. Okay, so obviously the auto is going to be covered up when this thing is in safe, but as you go through the different modes, it would then reveal itself. Okay, All right. So I'm kind of liking where this is going. Let us continue. So what else do we have here? So we can start on the site that we have in here. So let's look up our browser here. So this is the site. It's got this sort of intensity decal here. It has the model type, the size of the red dot that you see through there. This one is at 2 minutes of angle. So I think it's roughly about two. If you're looking through the site and looking at a target that was 100 yards away, that dot would represent about 2 inches at 100, something like that. I don't know. And then a serial number. And then the aim point logos on here. This one is just sort of etched into the surface, but they have them where they are. Here we go. Actually just painted on. I'm going to go with this just because it looks a little more interesting to me. And then the other thing, of course, is you can see the numbers right here for the intensity knob as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and put all that in there. So this is sort of at the lower edge here, so let's start with that. So Control Alt or right click to select that guy. And I'm gonna, what kind of layer do I want here? Let's use a fill layer because we are using some color here. So, and again, the text needs to be white, but you don't want it to be this perfectly bright, perfect white. So this slight gray that they start you with here is actually kind of nice. So we'll go with that. And we can always, and the nice thing about the fill layer is that you can always change it later if you don't like it. So let's put a black mask on there. Okay, and let's see what happens if we put this in the alpha and increase our alpha. Now, getting this to line up and be straight. I'm gonna hit F6 again. You see how that flattens everything out nicely. So let's zoom in here and let's see. Now we're not working the stencil, we're working the brush. So you know what? This is not going to work because if I paint, it's just going to paint the whole thing. So I do need a stencil. So we're going to put that in the stencil and hold down S and middle mouse drag this down somewhere around here. Now it needs to be big, so I'm going to right click and drag. And let's again middle mouse it down to where it should be. So that might be a little bit big. So let's scale up the site there a little bit. Now, my only worry here is that because this site is a round surface, it is sort of bending away from us. So we might get some stretching of this texture, but let's try it and see. So I'm going to shrink this down, my brush, and I'm just going to paint that on there. I'm going to turn off my stencil, hit F5, and see what we got. Yeah, you see there's a little bit of stretching, but it's honestly not that bad. So might just go with it. Okay, so now again, F6 to go into orthographic, rotate, hold down Shift to snap it flat, get our stencil back, and now we want the logo, and I just want to look at the logo size in relation to the, so it's a little shorter than this thing that we just put on there. So let's go, nope, that's not what I want, this is what I want. So let's bring our logo in here. So S, and let's drag it down something like that. Okay, let's see how that looks. Oh, I went too far, so let's undo that, and now we can go this way. Okay, F5, So let me see. Yeah, something like that, right? Something like that. There's another one there. So, I mean, you could see proportionally they differ even within the brand. So sometimes they don't even have that serial number and stuff underneath. So I think this is fine. The paint might be a little pristine. So again, we can just go get a brush and add a paint layer. And what do I do with my pen? There it is. So in our paint layer, we can grab one of these brushes there too, shrink it down. And I want to, let's increase our flow to 100 so that when it erases completely. So we could just sort of beat this up just a little bit. Okay, let's do the same with some of this stuff down here. I'm just tapping. Right? It's been used. Maybe that's too much. Don't want to lose too much information here. Okay, so you can decide how crazy you want to get with that. So there we go. If you want, you can also go into the smart materials and not the smart materials, sorry, smart masks. Stain scratches, the old favorite. Drag it in there and let's see what it does. Okay, well, it does that. Set it to multiply. And that's extreme. Hold on. Let's go into the mask editor here. And let's just get rid of our curvature. And man, this is, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. Global balance. There we go. So you can start to bring it back. You can invert it. I don't know if I like this though. Just give it a random seed. Yeah, no. So I don't like that. So I'm just going to kill that and just go back to my simple one here. We can try the subtle. Well, actually, no, it's surface worn. Let's try that. And wow, that was extreme. Let's go in the mask editor and see what we can do to reduce it. Global balance. Okay, that's just crazy. This texture, yeah, no, we don't like that. Subtle scratches. That is not very subtle at all, but let's see. Wear levels, just drop that down. Again, set this to multiply. And what do I want to do? Invert it. Increase the wear level, so I don't know. That might be pushing it a little bit. Actually, that's not too bad. It's sort of wearing away on the inside. So maybe it's too much, but I can, there we go, something like that. Okay, so again, this thing's been through a lot, so it's been beaten up. I kind of like that. Then, of course, always, if you wanted to give it a little bit of height. So for this one, I don't need any opacity. I don't need metallic. It's not metallic. We can mess with the roughness, make it a little bit shinier than the rest of the paint. So you can see how that light is hitting and really reflecting there, but it's not really doing so much there. So I've just given that paint a little bit more reflectivity than the tan paint. Okay. And of course, we can go 0.01 to give a little bit of height. You're probably not going to see anything unless you look real close, which is good. All right. So now on this side, let's do our intensity. Let's move our light around. Here we go. F6, rotate, hold down shift and snap. So let's go back to our mask And let's go to our alphas, which, and then where was it in the G's? There it is. And where's my stencil? Nope, I don't want that in the alpha. Oh, okay. I did an undo, and I just want to make sure that I didn't undo something that I didn't want to undo. So stencil. Now we want this intensity thing here. So we can move this and scale it up until it more or less matches the curve of the circle. And now I don't know if this is same for all of them. Where'd it go? You can see that the coin slot here is not lined up perfectly with the intensity knob here, or the intensity decal. And you can see same thing here. So this minus is just past the line of that, and it seems to be, that seems to be standard. So let's go ahead and do that. Now the problem, of course, well, I guess it's not a problem. All you got to do is hold down S and rotate this. Of course, the center of rotation is not necessarily where we want it, but we'll work with it. So I don't know, something like this, right? So let's go ahead and put that on there. Yeah, undo that. I need to just shift this a little bit. Maybe enlarge the knob. I don't know. Get it close enough. There we go. And let's close our stencil here. F5. Zoom out. A little low res. Let's look at our... Yeah, I mean, this right now at 2K, that's a 2K map, so this occupies a very small part of that 2K map. So, you know, it is what it is. If it was important to have this look, you know, be really good, then we could have just enlarged it, but it's fine. It kind of looks like it's just damaged up a little bit. So what I'm going to do then, of course, is come back to this paint layer and go find our brush. Go Dirt 2 again. Let's shrink it. Hit X to make sure that it's removing. And of course, we can increase the flow. And you can see some of that, the other metal edgeware here is, well, not the other metal edgeware. Where are we? Yeah. That metal edgeware that we put on before is actually happening in there. So this is just to beat this up a little bit. Okay. So you can still read what it says, but it's damaged, which is what we're looking for. So I'm actually liking that quite a bit. Okay. Let's think about the numbers. Whoa, what's going on here? There we go. The numbers that are going to be on this strip right here. Now, we need to paint an even distribution of numbers around this thing, which would be pretty much impossible in the 3D view. So I'm going to do it in the UV view, because this strip right down here in the UVs is where those numbers are going to be. So if I get my stencil again, so again, I'm just going to be in here. Oh, autosave. I need to remember to save so that autosave doesn't have to do it so much. Come on. Just checking how big this file is now. It's still about 12.3 gigs. I'm hoping it doesn't get much bigger than that, because that's kind of ridiculous. So I'm just going to save for myself. And just give it a second here. Come on. Big files take a while. Sometime today'd be nice. Come on. Okay, so anyway, while it's doing that, I saved out those numbers as a vertical strip to make it easy because I knew that in my UVs that section is just a vertical piece. So I wanted to make my life a little bit easier. Okay, we're done saving here. So let's go again. I have my mask selected here. And I'm going to come here to the stencil section and alphas. And where's my guy? There it is. So I'm going to put that in our stencil. And then what I'm going to do is, let's shrink this down a little bit. Try to line up. So the numbers, at least from what I could tell, run from 0 to 12. So you can see this goes 0 to 12. And I think I still need to scale this down a little bit more. So something like that. Let's see how that looks. I'm going to enlarge my brush a little bit here. And I have an alpha on here. So I'm just going to get rid of this alpha just so that I have that square block. And I'm doing this the wrong way. Hit X, which is then going to paint the numbers on. And I'm just going down and through. Okay, so let's put our stencil away. Okay, so there we go. Real easy to do. And now we have numbers. Now, only thing I think I might have messed up here is, see how they're upside down at the front? So I need to basically flip these upside down. So let's undo that and then bring back our stencil. And I'm just going to rotate this one back because it's driving me nuts. There we go. So this one in here, I need to rotate 180 degrees and snap it. Then I need to just move it over here and then line this up like that, and then just go paint them on. Now the reason that it's looking weird colors in the UV editor is just because when we baked our maps it took into account ambient occlusion and lighting and stuff, but it'll be fine. There we go. So if I hit F2, now the numbers are upside down as they should be. Now they look like they're off to the side too much, so which is funny because I guess the case, see how the 5 is like there's less space on this side than that side, so we just got to be careful with the double digits. But yeah, I think we need to do it again and shift things over. So I'm going to undo again, bring back my stencil, and let's line this up again. Okay, so you got to do a lot of testing before you feel like you're good to go. So let's try that. Okay. And I think that's better. Okay. Now, you know, I'm not sure. It looks like the spacing between the 12 and the 0 is bigger than between all the other digits. Should have paid attention to that before. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it, honestly. But it is. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. Let's all we got to do is, so there's even spacing between all these numbers. To increase the spacing between the 12 and the 0, we need to basically enlarge this so that the space on either end of these numbers is bigger, which is, as it wraps around, that's going to create a much bigger spacing between the 0 and the 12. So something like that. Let's see. Okay, let's see. It's slightly bigger, but I don't think it's big enough, so let's enlarge this some more. Okay, so you see now how that 0 and 12 has got a much bigger space, which is underneath here. Now, so you see how this is bigger now than this. Okay. Now in Maya, of course, I can rotate this to get it to whatever position I want. So right now, I think for now, this is fine. Okay, so we have now done those numbers. Looks actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm liking what we have going on here. Let's see. So on the, let's go to F2 on the upper receiver. So Control Alt, right click. And on the upper receiver here, let me just save again real quick. And what I'm going to put on here is a little marking. Well, let's see if I can see it in the upper receiver. Let's not go brand specific here. Let's just go. Yeah, so you get little weird markings like this on different receivers. And sometimes it's just a square. Not sure what it means. Sometimes it's sort of keyhole shape. There it is. There's the keyhole. Sometimes it's just a square. So, and then, with different manufacturers like Noveski here, they have logo there. Sometimes they have actual white text. So I'm going to put something there. Just see, this one actually has a circle. So let's put something. So, put something right here. We can use, where did it go? We can use the same logo. I forgot the logo already. Right, that one. So this guy. Wow. Okay, F6. This thing is weird. Hit F and then bring it in, rotate and snap. So we're going to put that logo right there. I'm going to get a standard layer. We just need height and normal. And let's try -0.1 as our height. And click on this. And I don't know, somewhere. Actually, let's make the height. Where'd it go? It's right here. Let's make the height a positive value so it actually pops outward. So 0.25. No, actually, let's go well, let's see. Click. That's too much. So 0.1. There we go. Hit F5. Okay, so we got this little maker's mark right there. I don't know. Minor detail. I think it looks kind of cool. Quick and simple. Okay, now our stock here. I was actually able to get my hands on one, as you can see. By total luck, I actually was talking to somebody about what I'm doing here, and they're like, well, you know, I have one of those just sitting around. And I'm like, you mind if I borrow it? And yeah, well, here we go. So I get to look at it up close and kind of see what's going on here. So we got, I don't know where you can see that we got different text and stuff. I'll show it to you on a browser here because that'll be clearer. Here we go. So we got this text going across here. We got text on the other side. I've already made decals, so there's one. These I made on individual things, and there's the other. And I'm going to use these on fill layers. So let's drag the first one. Let's go back here. This one here, I'm going to bring it in as an alpha, import into this project, import. And I believe that decal is on this side. Hit F6 to go orthographic, rotate, snap. So it goes right in here. Let's bring our light around like that. And actually, I'm going to delete the standard layer, make it a fill layer. And don't need any color, don't need any roughness, don't need any metallic. Click on that alpha. Oh, no, it doesn't work. You have to put a black mask on there first. And let's see if this works. I'm trying this a different way here. So click on that alpha. It should go in there. And so this comes up like this. Now, looking at the... No, wrong one. Where did that side go? So I'm just looking at proportion to get the spacing. And also how tall this is. This is not as tall as these holes. So let's shrink this down. Well, let's, I forgot to do my height. Now this has to go inward. So let's try -0.1, I think. And let's go back in our, let's click. Okay, that is not working. That's not working either. I know I'm forgetting something very simple. Let's try that. Might end up just going, you know what? Messed up again. Let's make it a standard layer like I had done the first time. And let's set our height to -0.1, I think. Click on that to put an alpha in there. Make it bigger. Let's click. Oh, looks like I'm still messing up here. And I bet you it's something. Well, let's make this extreme. Oh, yeah. Okay. I forgot to switch texture sets. Annoying. So Control Alt and click on the stock. It didn't do it because I think I'm in the tool. So let me just get out of that layer. Control Alt, right click. There we go. Now we're back in the game. So maybe I was doing it right earlier, but oh well. Now we're here. So there we go. Now it works. Okay. So remember to switch your texture sets. Okay, now that's a little much there, so I'm going to undo this and get this back to, say, let's go 0.25, negative 0.25, and try to evenly put that between those two holes, and click. Okay, so let's compare it to the something like that. Yeah, I think it's close enough. So now we can bring in the other one. So I'm just going to drag it in here, do it as an alpha. Could have just done them both at the same time, but don't want to lose it. So there we go. So now that one's there. So let's rotate around, bring our light around, click on that new alpha. And I really want to try to keep the size the same, but that's going to be hard to do. But no biggie. And there we go. There is that. Okay. What else do we got on this thing? So we have, see if I can find it on the image. So you can see this texturing here and here on these two. So let's see if we can put that in. Okay, you can see some of this. So this is molded plastic. So you can see some of these little artifacts here. So you can certainly go in and I'm looking at this one here, and it does have all that stuff as well. So depending on, you know, how much detail you want to go to, you can go in and it's just simple circles for these. Right. Pretty straightforward. You can see there's all kinds of little things. There's another circle there. And then there's also the mold lines. You can see the line right there. This is all just how much of an attention to detail you want. You can see as this was molded, the plastic sort of seeps through the seam in the center, and you get these. You can take it to that level if you want. I don't know if it's worth it for me here, but it definitely shows that you have a good eye for detail if you do put that type of stuff in there. Okay, so let's try to tackle these here. Now, I didn't pre-make any alphas for these. I'm going to try and see if I can do it with what's included in Substance. Will that, well, let's see. We'll see. I think these, let's hit a 5 here. Just look at what it looks like. So that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice too. So we need, let me get out of this this alpha right here. So I've shown you two ways basically of applying your detail, right? You can use the stencil method and you can use the alpha method. I think I like the stencil method better because I can put multiple things on one map and just pick what I want from the stencil. So very efficient. The other way, the brush way, I had to put just one thing because it paints with this image. So if you got all those other things on there, it's going to paint them on as well. I mean, you probably could go back and erase them out, but that's just extra work you have to do. So this is kind of less efficient way to work. At least this, you know, my knowledge this far with Substance, maybe there's a way where it doesn't matter, but as of right now, that's the way that I work. So let's go back to F1 here. So the part that I want is this part, and where's the other one? Oh, actually this one here. Let's see, Control Alt right click. It's on this one here, and that is right here. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see if we can find an alpha that is, it's sort of these rectangles with one rounded side that come to the center. Okay, so we're gonna have to use some symmetry here. Let's let me see, what would be the best way to do this. I'm going to make a new standard layer. See if it works with a standard layer, not a fill layer. And here's our symmetry button here. If I click it, you see we get this red line here that's going right down the center of the gun. Okay, so that's our symmetry. If it's not going down, you can come in here and set it. So if it was set to mirror Y, you can see that it's mirroring in the up and down direction. And of course, mirror Z, is that way, and that's obviously not what we want. What we want is mirror X. And notice that in my X value, there's a slight offset here because apparently my gun wasn't centered, so I had to punch in this number to offset to line the plane up with the center. Okay, so there's the plane right there. If your thing is centered, then you won't have to do that. But it's nice that they do allow you to adjust that if needed. So I'm gonna turn this on. And you can see as I paint, it does it symmetrically. Okay, so what we need then, I believe there's a shape like that in the alphas, maybe. Where did it go? Could have sworn I saw it earlier. Let's see. Come on, where are you hiding? Was I imagining it? Okay, there's this one, but that's rounded on both sides. And there it is. There it is. There it is. I was starting to doubt myself. So let's select that and let's enlarge our brush. So there it is. We need to rotate it 90 degrees. So let's come up here to angle, or just, what is it? Alt. No, that's not it. Oh, you know, I constantly forget the shortcuts. So something like that. Oh, that's too close to center. Okay, so let's see what it's looking like there. So that's not too bad. They're a lot thinner though. They're thinner and longer, so I don't know. Maybe we won't be able to do this. Let's make it smaller. Are there any options? Roundness. Let's turn off the roundness so that it's got those hard corners. See, if I make it smaller, I mean, you know what? That might actually work. Again, how perfect you want this is entirely up to you and what you need this for. And how important is this detail? Is it really important? If not, you know, you can decide if you want to take the time or not. Because again, time is a very precious commodity in 3D animation because everything takes a long time. So if you're going to take the time to make things super duper perfect and it's not really worth it, it's kind of a waste of time. So, you know, you think about that. For me, it's really not worth it to get them perfect. So I'm just going to get them good enough and I'm going to move on. If I was, say, working for the company that makes these stocks and they needed a 3D rendering of their stock, then yeah, I would take the time to get it perfect. I'd probably start with the CAD model or something like that. But for this, it's not necessary, so I'm gonna just go with it. So you got to decide how much time you want to put into it. So spacing, we need to space these apart. So right now, as you can see, if I click and then hold down shift, so I've released my mouse, hold down shift, you see I get a line, but I need it to be straight up. Hold down control and hit shift and then hold down control, and you'll see that if I then click over here, it's just going to draw a line of them between them, but my spacing is not wide enough, so I got no spaces between them. Okay, so we need to, let's go 40, and let's click the first one, hold down shift, control, click again, something like that. It's actually not too shabby. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 8 of them there, but mine are too thick to get 8 of them in there. What I can do, because I really don't want to try to, I mean, I can go to Photoshop and make this shape, make it a lot thinner. to me, it's not worth it. So I might just go with this many, you know, entirely up to you. Now, they don't look deep enough. So I'm going to undo that and let's go here. Let's go negative 0.35. Oops. Right. And yeah, it's good. You know, it's going to look how it looks because there is no actual depth. It's just flat. So let's go with that. Let's go to the other piece, which is, yep, this guy right here. So we'll do the same thing. And let me just look at the image again. These are even longer. And again, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Click once, then hold down Shift and Control, click again. Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Oh, you know what? They don't go that far. So let's go back. They only go to about the end of that thing. So let's undo that. Oops. Not what I was trying to do. So let's click once. Let's make them closer to each other. Okay. This one is too low, I think. They're too tight. There we go. All right. So use your symmetry, just makes your life easier. Yeah. I mean, this looks fine to me. I know it's not accurate, but that's okay. All right, what else we want to do here? Okay, so let's see here. What are we calling this? I don't know. Ridges, whatever. I'll just call it details. Okay, so that is, because it's not just the ridges, it's this stuff up here too. So I'll just call it details. Next, let's take this circle alpha here. Let's see what can we adjust the hardness? Yes. So we can make a hard circle. And we're going to just real fast, we're going to do these little artifacts in here. And I'm just looking at the one I have here. Yeah. They are there. So I'm going to go F2 just so I can see this. F6 for orthographic. So it looks like we have one here. Now that's too deep. You know what? One there. One here. Here and here. Now, I don't know. Let me get a look at these. Let's bring the light around. See, those are a little too pronounced. So I need to go back and let's go negative 0.1. Still a little pronounced, so let's go 0.05. Wow, that's still, so 0.025. Right, yeah, there we go. It's got to be real subtle. Okay, so now I'm going to line things up, hit F6. So one was here, 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 here. What else? Do we have any more on this side? Nope. And other side doesn't seem to have them so much. Let's look at this. Oh no, they're there. So same positions really. Oh, and there's one up here. Was there one there? Couldn't really see one there. Okay. So let's go back in and go the other side. So same deal here, here. This one actually has one there, here, and here. Okay. So try to make them very subtle. And there we go. All right. We've got this indentation here that I did not model. So if we want, we can just try to put it in right in here. This one, actually, I want this to be quite a bit deeper. So let's go negative 0.3. And I don't know. Let's enlarge this a little bit. Now, things aren't exactly the same. Now, this, you know, this looks like a pivot point here. So I don't know. I'm just going to put this in here just so that there's something there. Put another one in here, and I know they don't line up, but again, how much time do I really want to put into this? Not much. And then there's a hinge pivot here that I didn't model either. So we can just hint at it. Oh, what happened? Did I? Oh, I'm not on the right. There we go. So on this one, we'll also call this details. And let's go around. And I totally forgot where I put it. So I put it slightly there. Let's do the same thing there and call it good. There's also like a little square hole here that I did not model. To be honest with you, I didn't notice it until today. So that's a fail on my part for sure. And I don't know. I don't think it's worth it for me to go back and try to fix that now. So I'm going to leave it. So I'm just going to, I wish this was a little bit more rectangular, but I don't think there's any way to do that. So we'll make it just square. Let me look at it again. Okay, so it's just a, oh, wrong. Yeah, that doesn't look, I guess it's fine just as a detail there, but it does not look like what it was supposed to look like had I modeled it. So it's fine. Okay. All right, so this is looking actually pretty good. Errors notwithstanding. So the back of the butt pad here actually has a design to it. I don't know if, yeah, you can kind of see that there. Whoa, which way? That way. Okay, so again, this is not something that I'm going to model. It's not worth the polygons unless this was some kind of showpiece model rifle. Then I'd probably do it. So that's something I still need to draw the shapes. So I'm not going to do that in this video here, but I will draw those shapes. And it's just the same thing again. We can stencil it on or just use a fill layer and mask it on. You know, whatever it is that you want to do. But all you got to do is just draw the shapes and put it in there. Okay, so won't do this in this video. This video's already about an hour 20 or so. So I think for now I'm gonna call this. Now I need to get the decals for the light here, and some other things. Now, before I go here, one thing that I did want to do is just maybe add a little bit more wear. So with our little render test that we did, I think last episode, it just this damage here was just too subtle. So what I'm going to do is just give it another pass of damage. So Control Alt, right click on the receiver here, and under my gunmetal, what I've done is added, you can see that if I turn, oh, way to go. You can see that there. So I'm going to delete this and we'll go ahead and make a new one. So this is our black metal here. So the easy way to do this is just to go to Smart Masks, and I believe it was the stain scratches, and just drag that onto here. And come in the mask editor and let's invert. Obviously, this is really crazy. Let's drop the curvature so it's not doing so much on the curvature. And then let's see, texture 2 doesn't do anything. What about, oh, that was texture 1. There we go. So you can, right, so we just got some scratching going on here. Now it's completely overriding the stuff underneath it. So again, just want to set this to multiply so it'll be on both. Right, the stuff that I painted in and this will be in there. All right, so the, where is it? Texture 2 sort of increases or decreases the amount. And let's look at this side here. So on this side, might be a little much. Let's bring the lights around. There we go. That's actually pretty good. Like, we got some stuff going on there. And autosave. Yeah. Okay, so that's really all that I did. You can also, if you scroll down, I can't do it right now because it's saving. If you scroll down to the bottom or somewhere lower, there is here we go. There's two textures. That's why we have texture 1 and texture 2 over there. The one that seems to be doing more is the grunge scratches dirty. And if you hit the seed, right, it says seed, and if you hit random, you'll see that it changed up the damage to something. So you can just keep hitting that button and it'll keep changing it randomly. Okay, so I kind of liked the original damage, but feel free to play with that till you find something you like. So let's do the same to the upper receiver here. So Control Alt, right click, and we're going to come to our gunmetal right here, steel, rust, and wear. Go in the mask, stain scratches, put that on there, set that to multiply, and we need to go in the mask editor. And then we need to global invert, set that to true. And of course, that is a lot of damage, so we can reduce it by texture 2 over here. And the curvature weight is, we don't need that because we didn't mess with curvature in our original metal edgeware. So we can really just turn that way down or turn it off. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, like I said earlier, I didn't want to over damage the gun, but just working on it, and it started to just eat away at me. And then when we did the render test, it just, you could barely see the little bit of damage I had on there. So I wanna just pump it up. Again, I didn't want to go too far, but I want to pump it up a little bit just so that we have something extra. And if you want, you can throw it on this rail as well. So Control Alt right click, go in here, the mask, and again, stain scratches, mask editor. Let's set this to multiply again. Invert it. And you can see it's gone a little crazy, so just tone it way back down, drop your curvature. Okay. And just see it just adds a little something. Okay, so you got a lot of control over that. And again, if you come down here to texture 2, you can random seed that. Okay, you can just keep hitting it and see what it gives you. Okay, I think that's fine. Again, you know, I'll do more render tests and adjust as necessary if I need to. But that adds a nice layer of damage to it there. I think we'll see. We'll see if I don't start to hate it. All right, so for this video, I think that'll do it. I don't know what we'll do the next video. Might start to maybe start adding dirt. Already did a little bit of that with the flashlight, so we could give the whole gun a pass of that. So for example, if we're in our rail here, so let's, outside of our gunmetal here, I'm going to make a new, actually no, what I'm going to do is just go to materials, grab our rust coarse, drag it up there. You'll see that it just covers everything in rust. I like to increase the tiling here in the scale a little bit, maybe 10. And then black mask, add generator, and use a dirt. And then, of course, drop that dirt level way down. Let's see. Increase the edges masking. You see how now we got dirt in the crevices. Let's just drop it way down. Okay. We don't want to be too much. Now you can see the inner surfaces of this rail are really dirty. This might not be a problem when things are rendered. It might get real dark in there because there's not a lot of light that can penetrate through there. So that's just one of those things I might have to wait and see. Yeah, I don't know, because that's really dirty. I'm gonna go into my rust here. Let's darken this color just a little bit. So now it's darkened it, and then I can go into the dirt generator and pump this back up. It was a little too bright, and I think that looks better in there. Okay. All right, so I'll leave it, and if I hate it later, then I can always get rid of it. But for right now, I kind of like it. Okay, so we're just going to do more of that in the next video. This is coming along nicely. I'm going to save. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the button, hit the bell, sorry, you know the deal. and we'll just keep going till this is done. We're getting somewhere here. We'll, I don't think we got a whole hell of a lot more to do. It just depends on how far you want to take it. I'm liking what it's looking like. At some point, we'll go do another render test in Maya, and see how she looks. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.